Do you know why the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer? Why this divide is widening day by day? Why is it that 95% of the world's money is held by only 5% of people, while the remaining 5% of wealth is spread among 95% of the people? Someone once rightly said that if you were to take all the money from Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and many other rich people and then distribute it equally among everyone in the world, within a few years that money would end up back in the pockets of Zuckerberg, Gates, Bezos, Musk, and people would once again be poor. In this video, I will explain this strange, unsolved puzzle. And at the end of the video, you'll learn something from the lives of billionaires that even 100 books wouldn't be able to teach you. So, be sure to watch this video until the end. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Let's start with 2 questions. Have you ever wondered why, despite being one of the richest people in the world, with a net worth of over $100 billion, Warren Buffett does not have his own private jet, even though he could easily afford one? The second question, what is the reason that after the discovery of oil, countries like Dubai and Saudi Arabia are now counted among the rich nations? Whereas, despite the discovery of the same oil, a country like Venezuela is in a state of ruin? The answer to these 2 questions lies in the 5 rules of wealth. Rules that every rich person in the world follows, whether it's Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, or Michael Bloomberg. Rules which, when adopted, have made the rich even richer, while those who ignore them are getting ruined. Rule number 1, the lasting legacy rule. So, the first rule for the rich is, don't just become rich, stay rich. Many people, after becoming rich, end up falling back into poverty. Do you know why? Because they don't have a safety net. They don't have a backup plan. Friends, even if a car comes with 4 brand new tires, the company still provides an extra tire. This is so that if your car gets a puncture in the middle of the road, you have a backup plan, a safety support, to face unexpected troubles. Otherwise, you might end up stranded. Rule number 2, sensible expense strategy. Despite having an enormous fortune, Warren Buffett has never pursued owning a private jet, even though he could easily buy one with just a small fraction of his wealth. It's not merely about having money, it's about spending it wisely. Buffett has often explained that every dollar spent on a luxury like a private jet is a dollar not reinvested in opportunities that could grow his wealth. Every time he has to choose between spending a lot of money on something fancy or making a smart investment, he always chooses to invest his money. On the other hand, when a middle-class person earning about $1,500 a month lands a job, he might decide to finance a high-performance superbike. For example, he might pay around $1,500 up front and then about $500 a month for 24 months. This choice shows a focus on immediate luxury instead of saving or investing for the future. Warren Buffett knows that even though he could easily afford a private jet, he chooses to spend his money wisely. Instead of buying something extravagant like a $50 million jet, he prefers to live modestly, driving the same reliable car for years and keeping his living expenses low and reinvesting his money to grow his wealth. The poor don't think about what they can actually afford. They only look at what they can buy. Always ask yourself not, can I buy this, but can I really afford this? Remember, buying an elephant is not a big deal. Taking care of an elephant is what really matters. And I firmly believe that just because you can buy something doesn't mean you should. Rule number 3, the compound growth principle. The next rule for being rich is saving. The elders used to say, money saved is money earned. In 1920, oil was discovered in a country called Venezuela. By the 1960s, that country became extremely wealthy, so wealthy that essential goods were available at prices even lower than production cost, thanks to government subsidies. Then after the 1980s, for various reasons, oil revenues declined, so the government took loans. When Venezuela couldn't pay its loans, its debt grew huge and its currency lost almost all of its value. At one point, $1 was equal to about 4.5 million bolivars. Once rich from its oil, Venezuela now faces a deep economic crisis. Although the government doesn't officially rely on foreign aid, many Venezuelans depend on help from NGOs and money sent from abroad just to get by. On the other hand, in 1969, oil was discovered in Norway. Today, Norway is counted among the happiest and richest countries in the world, with a GDP that rivals even that of the UAE and the USA, and all of this is thanks to its oil revenue. Whereas with the same oil, Venezuela is in ruins, the question arises, what did Norway do differently? The simple answer is saving. Within a few years of the oil discovery, the Norwegian government realized that oil money would eventually run out. So they began saving a large portion of their oil revenue and deposited these savings into a fund called the Norway Sovereign Fund. They then invested from that fund, which made Norway so strong that when the world was reeling from the recession in 2008, Norway remained largely unaffected. It's important to note that saving alone won't make you rich. It's equally important to invest it in the right places. As the saying goes, money attracts money. But just as a magnet loses its power when locked away in a box, money kept in a locker loses its ability to attract more money. What did Norway do? They invested $300 million of their fund in nearly 99,000 companies across 72 countries. Rule number 4: seize the day. Now, let me take you back to 1963 to illustrate how to seize opportunities. At that time, a bank used to lend companies against the goods stored in their warehouses. The bank's name was American Express. One company took a loan by claiming, "We have oil worth $160 million. The bank officials went to inspect the warehouse and found it filled with oil barrels. The loan was approved, but later it turned out that those barrels were filled not with oil, but with water. When the news leaked that someone had defrauded an American bank, its shares fell by half in an instant. Everyone was withdrawing their money, but one man invested $20 million in that bank during the scandal. Everyone thought he must be foolish, but after thorough research, he realized that although the bank's reputation was hurt by the fraud, its business model was top-notch, and sooner or later, it would bounce back. That man was Warren Buffett, and today he holds more than a 20% stake in that bank, which according to 2023 data, is valued at $26.1 billion. In 1963, many investors had more money than Buffett, but Buffett knew how to seize the opportunity, and that is why American Express is today the largest company in his portfolio. Now, let's move on to the final rule of the rich. Rule number 5, the lavish illusion rule. Here's a vivid example. Think about the royal wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton, which lasted for several days with multiple lavish ceremonies and receptions. When people see such grand celebrations, many are tempted to believe that wealth is measured by extravagance. They might decide that their own wedding should be just as opulent, with many functions, a huge guest list, and even performances by famous artists. They might even plan to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a custom suit, thinking that a guest should wear something as expensive as a suit costing, say, $10,000. My advice is simple. Do not fall into this trap. Spending too much on a wedding can weigh you down. For example, while a royal wedding might cost around $46 million, even a small fraction of that expense is enormous for most people. If you try to keep up with such lavish spending, you could end up taking out loans and putting your future at risk. Remember, the royals have fortunes that grow over generations, and their spending on events is part of a much larger picture. They can afford such expenses because their wealth is built on long-term investments and a steady growth of assets. In contrast, trying to match that level of spending on your own celebration can lead to serious financial trouble. So, even if you're inspired by the grandeur of a royal wedding, focus on what you can truly afford. Let lavish expenses be something you receive as gifts rather than spend yourself, even if it means your wedding won't be as flashy as a royal one. If you want to try 30 Days Finance Challenge and save big money, click here. Keep learning, stay healthy, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and share it. Do let me know in the comments which one of these 5 tips you like the best. I'll meet you again with another amazing video next time. Until then, take care of your health, earn lots of money, and goodbye.